Well, hey everybody, this is PKU Chat, and I'm in Atlanta. Lily and Isabella here, and I'm here with Kurt Sensenbrenner.
Hey.
Is that how you say your last name?
Yep, Sensenbrenner.
Sensenbrenner. Okay, cool. So you have PKU?
Yeah, classical PKU.
So what does that mean?
It means basically my body doesn't produce any enzyme to be able to break down protein. So it's, I think, the most restrictive kind, right? I think it's classical.
Yeah, classical is the most
restrictive. So I can have 7 grams of protein a day and don't respond to Kuvan and all those things that make me classical, I guess.
So right now we're at the National PKU Alliance's conference for PKU. They do it every 2 years, and they have a lot of speakers here, scientists.
Yep.
And they're talking about like all these various new experiments that they're trying out to try and find more of a cure for PKU. So like the diet does work wonderfully, especially if you have a slightly higher protein tolerance. But for people who have severely classical, like 1 gram, 2 grams a day, it's not really sustainable, right? Like
not at all.
It's more, you know, so all these other kinds of research that are happening are so important. And the thing that I was most excited about were all the different things they were talking about for at-home testing kits.
Yeah, the home monitor would be amazing.
Why would it be amazing?
Because it empowers the patient to know kind of what's going on. You know, it's kind of abstract right now. It's once a month. I personally go to a place that draws my blood and then sends it off. And then I hear back 3 days later what it is. And I go, okay, I have 3 weeks to fix it. You know, it's kind of it's such a delayed process. And I would love to be able to just like, oh yeah, I have a free day. Why not test it? I know I tested 3 days ago, but let's do it. And it would be really cool to be able to have. Why would you like having it?
Same reason, really. Like to have that control. Also, honestly, I often feel a lot of pressure to be perfect. And it's something I work on in a lot of aspects of my life, not just PKU. Like not feeling that pressure. And I think that it's so important to like be aware of the diet for its own sake and like for your own health's sake, and not just because it'll make your parents happy and it'll make your clinicians happy and your dietitians and your doctors and all that. What would you say is your favorite thing about having PKU?
My favorite thing about having PKU? That's such a... I haven't thought about it. It's such an interesting question. Like, I think it's really interesting to have something that's super rare and not experienced by a lot of people, and you have an experience that's kind of unique and you can only share it with a few people. I'd never met really anyone with PKU for any extended period of time of being like, hey, that kid has PKU and we're in a waiting room and then they go in, you know. That was my extent of seeing PKU people until the National PKU Alliance conference in Utah. And I had never really met someone with PKU, so walking in and meeting a bunch of people of varying ages, varying backgrounds, but still having a really specific, rare disorder to kind of like have camaraderie around was really interesting. I think I hold that to be pretty special. Because not a lot of people have, you know, everyone has a different thing, everyone has a different experience, but some are certainly more widespread than others, and some, you know, everyone's unique, but there are a few chances when you can just be in a room with a bunch of people that can all relate to a really specific, like spilling formula on your car when you're driving somewhere and you're like, I gotta burn this car because the smell's never gonna go away. Like, only PKU people really get that, and that's cool to be able to share and just, you know, hang out, you know.
Or like how hard it is when you open your can of formula to get the scooper. Like, why do they put the scooper all the way on the bottom?
The best mornings are when you open it and the handle's sticking out and you're like,
yes! It's true.
And then the worst is when you open it up and shake it and it doesn't even show up.
You have to get a fork and like dig around.
It's gonna be all over my hand and on the counter.
Yeah, you have to make sure your hands are super dry.
Yep.
It's so true.
Yep. Yeah. So those little things that you really can't do day to day or even seek out if you're seeking out on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, that's why these things are so wonderful. This is my first conference that I've ever been to, and I like it so far a lot.
Yeah, it's a nice balance. If you've never been to one, it's a nice balance between like the science research treatment aspect, but also just the hang time to just talk with kids, parents, you know, other adults, and so everyone has
That's very
something, and PKU is just the something that I have. It's just part of the somethings that I have. You know, it makes you unique and individual, but it also is a hurdle that you just kind of have to put up and deal with and
leap over.
yeah. Exactly. And you know, it's not going anywhere for the time being, so acceptance is a lot easier of a life and easier to do than fighting it. That's how I view it, at least.
I think that's very true. What's your sort of relationship to talking about PKU?
Growing up, I mean, it wasn't really a factor. I think it was more of a talking point of like, why can't you eat that? You know, those kind of questions come up, or why aren't you eating with us, or the same thing. And you know, when you're young, let's say like 5th, 6th grade or something, you don't really want to talk to it because you don't really understand it. Like, especially, you know, elementary age, you're just kind of like, I don't know. My parents say I can't, you know, like you don't really get it. But I think it was, I wouldn't say necessarily a point of pride, but it was definitely a chance to like, oh, okay, I can explain this to some other people. And not that they're gonna take it and run with it and start a fundraiser or anything, but it was just a chance to like, oh, this is what I have and this is why. And but now as an adult, it's a really easy way to avoid small talk. Is just like someone asks the demon that is small talk. But honestly, it's a way to, you know, if you're at a corporate lunch or something, people ask, it's just a way to talk about it, get them educated, but also just avoid talking about politics or small talk in general. You know,
it's kind of a very safe topic.
Yeah, and it's
like,
something
nobody's gonna get offended.
Yeah, right.
You're a vegetarian?
What?
Why? Plants have feelings
That's
too.
disgusting.
Yeah. I was like, no, I have no choice. Oh.
And then it goes into your life sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you ever feel that way? Like, I personally haven't felt that my life sucks because of PKU. Like, I feel like it has many advantages that, like, kind of don't get talked about a lot. But a lot of the diet is healthy if you do focus on the fruits and the vegetables part and just, like, try and get creative around that. But
yeah, I think from a health standpoint, I think it's healthier because you're not eating all that stuff.
But do you struggle with, like, certain aspects of having it at all, or?
I personally haven't, but there's always kind of that like what if question mark that I think kind of outweighs the like nutritional aspects. It's like, well, yeah, it's healthier and like there's some benefits, but it's a little scary if you went off diet, like having these, you know, symptoms or these effects, you know, are pretty negative and they stick with you. So I think that's a scary part about having it, but it just puts more pressure on accepting it, talking about it with people, explaining why, and following it, you know?
Absolutely.
I mean, I feel excited about the idea that just the people that have no relation to PKU whatsoever are spending their entire careers trying to figure out how PKU can be treated and cured. Like, that to me is really inspiring that people are connected to this for whatever reason to try to solve it, you know, looking at it like a puzzle or something to be cracked, you know, and that's really cool.
That's a really good point.
And the science aspect is a lot of it, I just keep reminding myself, like, the trajectory is so long, you know. They're not looking at like November of this year, they're looking at like, you know, 10 years down the road, what can be accomplished. Right. And so I kind of have to keep that in my head of like, oh man, it worked on one mouse. It's like, nah, it doesn't really matter. You know, it's all like super long trajectory.
And you kind of heard that today. Like, somebody asked one of the scientists who's a grad student, what do you think the timeline would be? And she was like, well, I'm a grad student, so I worked on this part of it, and then, you know, the next grad student will work on the next part. Yeah. She's like, so I can't really give you an exact timeline because that's the nature of it. You know?
Right, and that grad student might come by in 2 years. Yeah. You know, it's all super up to a lot of different factors and funding and schools and and that education and science. Fund them.
Yes. What advice would you give to a kid or a parent who's kind of like struggling with dealing with the fact that PKU is in their lives and, you know, maybe feeling grumpy about it, or like
Yeah.
or distraught, or like just having something they're working through.
Yeah, I mean, I think every person with PKU has gone through kind of a similar like ebb and flow of like, oh yeah, I just went the last few years and like barely even realized I had it, to like, this diet sucks, like I'm different, I hate it, it's doing things to my body that I don't want it to, and then back up. And it, I guess, like growing up, there's definitely a pattern with age and hormones and social situations. And the most important thing, I mean, like, it doesn't feel like it is temporary sometimes, but like eating in a cafeteria with your friends gets really trivial really quickly. Like 2 years might suck, but I mean, it's gonna pass. And eating that cheese pizza because your friend is or whatever might not pass, and that's kind of the gravity of the situation. Was it helped me kind of realize like, oh, okay, this doesn't necessarily like have that much weight to it. If my friend is making fun of me because I can't eat something, like, it's a bad friend. Like, it sucks, but I mean, who's gonna make fun of you for eating something different, And not everyone has that luxury. A lot of kids are made fun of and have bad situations for that. But it's really just a matter of being around the people that support you. And if you ever, I mean, especially now with social media, I mean, reach out to me, reach out to Lillian, like, reach out to people.
Yeah, totally.
And we'll support you, and we know the gravity of it, and we don't care what you eat. Like, talk to people and vent and do all those healthy things. So that's what I would say, at least.
Yeah. Another thing I love about PKU, like, we just met today, and like you already feel like a good friend. Like, that happened really fast. And I think it's because we have such a similar, like, collective knowledge around what it, like you said earlier, a singularly unique experience it is to have PKU.
Yeah, it's a bonding moment, definitely.
Totally.
And then you're side by side eating the same food from one of the providers downstairs, like Hambrook or whoever.
The delicious food.
Yeah.
The really delicious food.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's a little community.
Thank you so much for talking with me. It was so awesome to get to know you better.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, it was great meeting you. Thanks for interviewing me. And
what's the best way for people to like keep in touch with you if they want to reach out?
I post a lot on Instagram, at Sensen.something.
Wait, what do you do professionally? Wait, just tell everybody what you do professionally.
Video producer right now for the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association.
That's right.
But make documentary films and hope to be chipping away at the PKU story as well. So
very cool.
Yeah, we'll be
posts
collaborating.
Terrifying videos of being in airplanes, like go upside down and stuff on Instagram. So they don't terrify you, but they terrify me. So, but anyway, check it out. Okay, bye.